The world is changing in a very big way, and at the center of this change is a group of nations called BRICS. This name started as an acronym for Brazil, Russia, India, and China. Later, South Africa joined, making it BRICS. For a long time, these 5 countries worked together to build a different kind of global partnership. They wanted a system where more countries had a voice, not just the wealthy nations of the West. They believed in a world where power was shared more equally among many different countries, creating what we call a multipolar world. This idea has become very popular, and many other nations have taken notice of their efforts. Recently, the BRICS group has grown much larger. In a major expansion, countries like Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, the United Arab Emirates, and Indonesia have become full members. This growth is truly historic. As of today, in August 2025, the group is now made up of 10 countries, with many more waiting to join. This expanded group is incredibly powerful. Together, they represent about 45% of all the people on Earth. This means nearly half of the world's population is now part of this alliance. Their combined economic strength is also massive, accounting for more than 1/3 of the entire global economy. This is not just a small club anymore. It is a major force shaping our planet's future. The original idea behind BRICS was simple but powerful: to give a stronger voice to large, developing economies. These nations felt that global institutions, like the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund, were dominated by the United States and Europe. They wanted to create their own systems that would better serve their interests. For example, they wanted to trade with each other using their own money, instead of always relying on the US dollar. This desire for more independence and fairness is the foundation of the BRICS alliance. It is a group built on the idea that cooperation, not competition, is the best way forward for emerging economies. This expansion marks a new chapter in international relations. We are moving away from a world dominated by a single superpower. Instead, we are seeing the rise of multiple centers of influence. The BRICS nations are at the forefront of this shift, offering an alternative vision for how countries can work together. They are not just focused on economics, they're also building political and strategic partnerships. This growing alliance shows that many countries are looking for new ways to solve global problems and ensure their own security and prosperity. The story of BRICS is the story of a changing world order, and it is happening right before our eyes. The reasons why so many countries want to join BRICS are clear and compelling. First and foremost, they are seeking what is called strategic autonomy. This means they want the freedom to make their own decisions without being pressured by larger, more powerful nations. For decades, many countries have felt that their policies were heavily influenced by the United States and its allies. By joining BRICS, they see an opportunity to balance these relationships and create more options for themselves. They can build new friendships and partnerships, which gives them more flexibility on the world stage. It is like having more than one friend to turn to for help or advice, which makes you stronger and more independent. Another major reason is the promise of economic development and financial independence. A key goal of BRICS is to reduce the world's dependence on the US dollar. This is often called de-dollarization. When countries trade using the dollar, they are subject to American financial policies and sanctions. BRICS is creating ways for members to trade using their own local currencies. This is very attractive. Furthermore, the group has its own bank, the New Development Bank, or NDB. This bank provides loans for important projects like building roads, bridges, and power plants. Unlike other global banks, the NDB often lends money in local currencies, which helps countries avoid debt problems and Western financial control. Political influence is also a powerful motivator for joining. Many nations in the global South feel that their voices are not heard in major international forums like the United Nations. BRICS offers them a platform where they are treated as equals. It is a group where a country's size or wealth does not determine its importance. Instead, the focus is on mutual respect and shared interests. By joining, smaller or less developed countries can have a bigger say in global conversations about things like climate change, trade rules, and international security. This promise of a more democratic and inclusive global system is a significant part of the BRICS appeal. Finally, the world today is filled with uncertainty. The possibility of political changes in major Western countries, such as a potential return of Donald Trump in the United States, makes many nations nervous. They worry about unpredictable policies and trade disputes. BRICS is seen as a safe harbor in these uncertain times. It offers a stable and predictable partnership that is not subject to the shifting political winds of one country. Joining the bloc is a way for nations to hedge their bets and protect themselves from future shocks. It is a strategic move to ensure their own stability and prosperity in a rapidly changing and often unpredictable world. Perhaps the most surprising development in this global shift is the interest from countries within the European Union. Recently, it was reported that 2 EU member states are seriously considering joining the BRICS alliance. This is a truly remarkable turn of events. For a very long time, the world was divided into clear blocs, with the EU and the United States forming a strong Western alliance. The idea that members of this group would look to join a coalition led by countries like China and Russia was once unthinkable. It signals a potential crack in the unity of the Western world and shows just how much global dynamics are changing. The reasons for this interest are tied to the same desires for sovereignty and economic opportunity that attract other nations. These EU countries may feel that their own national interests are not always perfectly aligned with the broader policies of Brussels or Washington. They might see BRICS as a way to open up new markets for their goods and attract investment from fast-growing economies in Asia, Africa, and Latin America. By joining, they could gain access to the financial resources of the new development bank and participate in trade that is not dependent on the US dollar. It represents a pragmatic choice to diversify their economic partnerships and secure their future prosperity. This move also has a deep political meaning. It suggests that these countries want a more independent foreign policy. They may want to act as a bridge between the West and the rising powers of the global South. By having a foot in both camps, they could increase their own influence and importance on the world stage. This is a strategy of balancing relationships rather than choosing one side over another. It reflects a growing belief that the future will not be dominated by a single bloc, but will instead be shaped by many different centers of power. Being part of BRICS could give them a seat at a very important new table. Of course, such a move would create challenges. It would certainly cause tension within the European Union and with allies like the United States. Traditional alliances are built on shared values and coordinated policies. If some EU members join a group that includes rivals like Russia and China, it could weaken the cohesion of the West. However, it also shows that the appeal of a multipolar world is incredibly strong, so strong that it is beginning to cross old geopolitical divides. It is a clear sign that the global balance of power is not just shifting, but is being fundamentally reshaped in front of our very eyes. The expanded BRICS group has ambitious goals for the future. One of their biggest projects is creating a new digital infrastructure to connect their members. This includes a plan for a massive 35,000-kilometer subsea fiber optic cable. The purpose of this cable is to reduce their reliance on internet infrastructure that is controlled by the United States. This would give them more security and control over their own data and communications, which is very important in today's digital world. This, along with the push for trading in local currencies and the work of the new development bank, shows that BRICS is serious about building a real alternative to the Western-led global system. However, building this new world order is not without its problems. The biggest challenge for BRICS is the diversity of its members. The group includes democracies like Brazil and India, as well as authoritarian states like China and Russia. These countries have very different political systems and sometimes have conflicting interests. For example, India is often cautious about the growing influence of China within the group. Similarly, Brazil wants to maintain good relationships with the West and is wary of the bloc becoming too anti-American. Managing these internal differences and finding common ground will be a constant test for the alliance. Another hurdle is the perception that the group might be dominated by one member, China. As the largest economy in the bloc by far, China has the most resources and influence. Some smaller members worry that the group's agenda could be shaped primarily by Beijing's interests. To be successful, BRICS must ensure that it operates as a partnership of equals, where the voices of all members are heard and respected. The leadership of countries like Brazil, India, and South Africa will be crucial in balancing China's power and making sure the alliance remains a truly multipolar institution that benefits everyone involved. Despite these challenges, the rise of BRICS is incredibly important for everyone around the globe. It signifies a fundamental shift towards a world with multiple centers of power, which could lead to a more balanced and democratic international system. This change affects everything from global trade and finance to international politics and security. It means that decisions affecting the entire world will no longer be made by a small group of wealthy countries. The story of BRICS is a reminder that the world is big and diverse, and that new powers are rising to claim their place on the global stage. This is not just a trend, it is the new reality.